I blocked my own mother after she gave my $75,000 inheritance to my golden child brother, and now my entire family is calling me selfish and ungrateful. Look, before everyone jumps down my throat, I need you to understand the full context here. Also, if you're enjoying this story so far, please hit that subscribe button and leave a like. It really helps the channel grow. And drop in the comments which city you're watching from. I'm curious to see where everyone is tuning in from around the world. Okay, so here's the situation. I'm Sarah, 32F, and I've always been the responsible one in my family. My brother Jake, 28M, has been the golden child since literally the day he was born. Our mom, Linda, 61F, has always had this weird favoritism thing going on with him. Like, it's not even subtle. Growing up, Jake got the new Xbox while I got practical gifts like socks and school supplies. He got a brand new car for his 16th birthday, a freaking Honda Civic, while I was told I needed to save up and buy my own because it builds character. When he crashed that car 6 months later driving drunk, guess who bought him another one? Yeah, Mom did. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me explain what led to this absolute dumpster fire. So, my dad passed away 4 years ago. He was 58, had a massive heart attack at work, completely unexpected. It destroyed all of us, but especially me because Dad and I were super close. He always made sure I felt valued, Like, he saw me. Really saw me. Unlike Mom, who only seemed to have eyes for Jake. Before Dad died, he had a life insurance policy worth $150,000. I didn't even know about it until the lawyer called us in for the reading of his will. Dad specifically stated in his will that the money should be split equally between me and Jake, $75,000 each. He also left the house to Mom, obviously, and some other smaller stuff was divided up, but that $150,000 was specifically meant for his kids. The lawyer made it crystal clear. Dad even wrote a letter that was read out loud where he said, "I want both my children to have a financial foundation to build their futures on. Sarah has always been responsible, and I know she'll use this wisely. Jake, I hope this gives you the stability to find your path. I love you both equally." I literally cried hearing those words. It was like Dad was there, one last time, making sure I knew I mattered. Here's where it gets complicated. The insurance money was paid out to my mom as the beneficiary, with the understanding that she would distribute it according to Dad's wishes in the will. This is apparently pretty common. The lawyer explained it was set up this way for tax purposes or something. I didn't really understand all the legal stuff. I just trusted that Mom would honor Dad's final wishes. Fast forward 6 months after Dad's death. I asked Mom about the inheritance money because I'm looking to put a down payment on a small condo. I've been renting this cramped, one-bedroom apartment for years, saving every penny, working my ass off as a nurse doing double shifts. I figured with the $75,000 from Dad plus my savings, I could finally afford something of my own. The housing market is insane, and I'm not getting any younger. I want stability. Mom gets this weird look on her face and says, "Oh, honey, we need to talk about that." My stomach just dropped. I knew. I fucking knew something was wrong. She sits me down and tells me that she gave Jake his $75,000 about 3 months earlier. Okay, fine, whatever. But then she says, "Jake had some financial difficulties, and he really needed help. So I gave him your portion too. Temporarily, he's going to pay you back." I just stared at her. You gave Jake my $75,000? The money Dad specifically left for me? She got all defensive. It's not like that, Sarah. Jake was in a really bad situation. He owed money to some dangerous people. He made some bad investments and got in over his head. I couldn't just let my son suffer when I had the means to help him. "I'm your daughter!" I practically screamed. Dad left that money for both of us. You had no right. It's temporary, she kept insisting. Jake is going to pay you back as soon as he gets back on his feet. He promised. I asked her exactly what kind of bad investments Jake had made. She got all vague and uncomfortable. Finally, she admitted that Jake had gotten involved in some cryptocurrency scheme and lost everything. Then he borrowed money from loan sharks to try to make it back, and it just spiraled. He owed around $140,000 total. So let me get this straight. Jake, who has never been responsible with money in his entire life, gambled away his inheritance on crypto, borrowed more money from dangerous people to chase his losses, and Mom's solution was to give him my money too? Money that our dead father specifically wanted me to have? I lost it. I completely lost it. I told her she had betrayed Dad's trust and mine. She started crying, saying I was being selfish and that family helps family. I said, "Then why didn't Jake ask me for help? Why did you just take my money without even telling me?" She didn't have an answer for that. I left her house that day and I was shaking with rage. But I tried to be reasonable. I called Jake directly. This conversation is burned into my brain forever. Me. Jake. Mom told me what happened with the inheritance money. Jake. Oh yeah, listen, Sarah. I'm really sorry about that. It's just temporary, though. I'll pay you back. Me. When? And why didn't you ask me yourself? Jake. I didn't want to bother you. You're always so busy with work and everything. Mom offered to help. Me. Mom didn't offer anything, Jake. She gave you my money. Money that Dad wanted me to have. Jake. Getting defensive. Look, I was in a really bad situation. Would you rather I got my legs broken or something? Because that's what would have happened. Me. So your bad decisions are my problem? You gambled away $75,000 and borrowed more from loan sharks, and I'm supposed to be okay with losing my inheritance because of it? Jake. God, you're such a bitch sometimes. It's always about money with you, isn't it? I said I'd pay you back. Me. When, Jake? When will you pay me back? You don't even have a job right now. Jake. I'm working on some things. I've got opportunities lined up. Me. What opportunities? More crypto? More schemes? Jake. Fuck you, Sarah. At least Mom cares about me. You've always been jealous that I was the favorite. And he hung up on me. I sat there staring at my phone in disbelief. This motherfucker actually said he was the favorite like it was something to be proud of, like it justified everything. I tried to calm down and think rationally. I consulted with a lawyer about my options. The lawyer told me that technically, since the money was paid out to my mom as beneficiary, and Dad's will just expressed his wishes for distribution, it wasn't legally enforceable the same way it would be if the money had been in a trust or paid directly to us. Basically, I could sue my mom for the money, but it would be expensive, time-consuming, and there was no guarantee I'd win. The lawyer said my best bet was to try to work it out within the family or get Jake to sign a formal promissory note for the $75,000 with a payment plan. I tried. I really did try to work it out. Over the next few weeks, I sent Mom and Jake multiple texts and emails asking for a formal agreement in writing that Jake would pay me back with a timeline. I wasn't even asking for interest or anything, just my money back. Jake ignored every message. Mom kept making excuses for him. He's stressed. He's going through a hard time. Can't you be more understanding? 3 months went by. Nothing. I watched the condo I wanted get sold to someone else. I was still stuck in my shitty apartment. Then I found out through my aunt, Mom's sister, that Jake had bought a brand new Harley-Davidson motorcycle. A fucking motorcycle. Cost him $18,000. I called Mom immediately. He bought a motorcycle? He has $18,000 for a motorcycle, but can't start paying back the $75,000 he owes me? Mom actually tried to justify it. Sarah, Jake needs transportation for his new job. He needs a motorcycle for transportation? A regular car wouldn't work? Or I don't know, the car he already has. His car broke down, and the motorcycle gets better gas mileage. I couldn't even respond. The mental gymnastics were just too much. That's when I made my decision. I sent one final text to both of them. Since Jake clearly has no intention of paying me back, and Mom, you have no problem enabling his behavior, I'm done. You both betrayed Dad's wishes and stole my inheritance. I no longer want either of you in my life. Don't contact me. And I blocked both their numbers, blocked them on social media, everything. Within hours, my phone was blowing up from other family members. My Aunt Carol, my Uncle Mike, my cousins. Everyone had an opinion. Aunt Carol, Sarah, you need to forgive your mother. She did what she thought was right. Uncle Mike, you're tearing this family apart over money. That's not what your father would have wanted. My cousin Jess, honestly, I think you're being really dramatic. Jake made a mistake. People make mistakes. But here's the thing, and this is what none of them seem to get. It's not just about the money. I mean, yes, $75,000 is a life-changing amount of money for me. That was my down payment. That was my financial security. But more than that, it was my father's last gift to me. It was his way of taking care of me even after he was gone, and Mom just gave it away to Jake. The same Jake who's never faced consequences for anything in his entire life. My dad died believing that I would be taken care of. He planned for it. He made sure it was in writing, and Mom just decided that didn't matter. The absolute worst part. 2 weeks after I blocked them, I found out from a mutual friend that Mom is now telling everyone that I abandoned the family in their time of need and that I'm heartless and money hungry. Jake is apparently playing the victim, saying I've always been jealous of him and that I'm using this as an excuse to cut him out. I am the villain in their story. Emmy, the one who got robbed. My boyfriend, David, 34M, has been supportive, but even he's said, "Babe, I get that you're hurt, but she's your mom. Maybe you're being a little harsh with the total cutoff." We've been together for 3 years, and this is literally the only thing we've ever really fought about. But I don't think I'm wrong. Am I supposed to just let them steal from me and then smile and show up for Christmas dinner? Am I supposed to pretend everything is fine while Jake rides around on his $18,000 motorcycle bought with money he was supposed to be using to pay me back? Last week, Mom tried to reach out through my boyfriend's phone. She called him crying, begging him to convince me to talk to her. She said she's devastated and that she didn't realize how much this would hurt me. She wants to work something out, but she still won't commit to any actual plan to get me my money back. I told David to tell her I have nothing to say unless she or Jake want to transfer $75,000 into my account. Otherwise, we have nothing to discuss. Now half my family isn't talking to me. My Aunt Carol sent me this long emotional message about how I'm being just like my father's stubborn side, and how I need to learn to forgive because family is forever, but money is temporary. But you know what? Dad's love wasn't temporary. His sacrifice in building that life insurance policy wasn't temporary. He worked his whole life, paid those premiums, made those plans specifically so his kids would be okay, and Mom pissed all over that legacy to bail out Jake. Again. This happened 4 months ago now, and I haven't spoken to either of them since. The holidays are coming up, and I'm already getting pressure from extended family about making peace and being the bigger person. But why do I always have to be the bigger person? Why do I have to forgive and forget when no one holds Jake accountable for anything? When does someone stand up for me? So that's where I am right now. Estranged from my mother and brother, half my family thinks I'm the asshole. My relationship is strained, and I'm still in my shitty apartment with no inheritance and no down payment. The thing that keeps me up at night isn't even just the money anymore. It's the principle. It's knowing that in my mother's eyes, Jake's comfort will always matter more than my needs. It's knowing that my father's dying wishes meant so little to her that she violated them without even telling me. It's realizing that I never actually mattered to her the way Jake does, and everyone keeps telling me I need to let it go. But how do you let go of that? How do you forgive someone for showing you so clearly that you're second best, that you don't deserve what was meant for you? I don't know. Maybe I am the asshole. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe I should value having a relationship with my mom more than I value the money. But every time I think about reaching out, I remember Jake hanging up on me and calling me a bitch. I remember Mom crying but still not actually doing anything to fix the situation. I remember my dad's voice on that letter telling me he wanted me to have a foundation. And I just can't do it. I can't pretend everything is fine. I can't go back to being the understanding one, the responsible one, the one who makes sacrifices so everyone else can be comfortable. So yeah, I blocked my mom after she gave my $75,000 inheritance to my golden child brother, and I honestly don't know if I'll ever unblock her. So things have escalated in ways I never could have imagined. And I need to give you all an update because, honestly, this situation has gone from bad to absolutely nuclear. After I posted about blocking my mom and Jake, I thought maybe keeping my distance would eventually force them to take responsibility. I was wrong. So incredibly wrong. About 3 weeks after I cut contact, my mom showed up at my apartment. Just showed up. Unannounced, at 7 a.m. on a Saturday. I was still in my pajamas, hadn't even had coffee yet, and there's banging on my door. I look through the peephole and there she is, looking like she hasn't slept in days. I didn't want to open the door, but she started crying loudly in the hallway, and I was worried she'd disturb my neighbors. So I opened it. "Sarah, please, we need to talk," she sobbed the second the door cracked open. "Mom, I have nothing to say to you. I was very clear about my boundaries." "Boundaries? I'm your mother. You can't just cut me out of your life over this." "Over this? Over you stealing my inheritance?" "Yeah, actually, I can." She pushed her way into my apartment, which pissed me off, but I was too tired to physically stop her. She sat on my couch and just started this whole speech about how she's been sick with worry and how families shouldn't treat each other this way. I told her flat out, "You want to fix this? Transfer $75,000 to my account, or get Jake to sign a legal payment plan with actual dates and consequences. Those are the only two options." And you know what she said? "Sarah, that money is gone. Jake needed it. I can't just produce $75,000 out of thin air, and Jake doesn't have it to give back right now." "Right now? Mom, he bought an $18,000 motorcycle." "He sold that," she said quickly. "He sold it to try to make things right." This was news to me. "He sold it? When?" "Last week. He got $12,000 for it. He's ready to start paying you back." For a second, I actually felt hope. Like maybe, finally, there was going to be some accountability. "Okay, so where's the $12,000? Mom got quiet. Real quiet. "Mom, where is the money?" "He had to use it for rent and some other debts, but he's going to start paying you back $500 a month starting next month." I literally laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was so absurd. $500 a month? That's 150 months. That's 12 and a half years to pay back money he should have never taken in the first place. And that's not even accounting for the fact that I've lost 4 months of having that money already. It's a start, Sarah. Why can't you just accept that he's trying? Because he's not trying, Mom. If he was trying, he wouldn't have bought a motorcycle. If he was trying, he would have gotten a real job instead of chasing schemes. If he was trying, he would be here apologizing, not you. She started crying harder. Your father would be so disappointed in you right now, tearing this family apart over money. That's when I really lost it. Don't you dare use Dad to manipulate me. Dad left me that money. Dad wanted me to have it. You're the one who disrespected his wishes. You're the one who tore this family apart by playing favorites like you always have. She left after that, but not before telling me that I was cruel and cold-hearted, and that she didn't raise me to be like this. I was shaking for hours after she left. David came over that afternoon and found me just sitting on the floor, staring at nothing. He held me while I cried, but then he said something that really bothered me. Babe, I know your mom messed up, but she's getting older. What if something happens to her and you never reconciled? Could you live with that? I told him that was emotional blackmail and not fair. He backed off, but I could tell he didn't fully get it. Here's where things get even messier. About a week after Mom's ambush visit, I got a Facebook message from Jake's girlfriend, Melissa, 26F. I didn't even know he had a serious girlfriend. The message said, "Hi, Sarah. I know you probably don't want to hear from anyone in Jake's life, but I think you should know what's really going on. Can we meet for coffee? I'll pay. I just think you deserve to know the truth about where your money went." I was suspicious as hell, but curiosity got the best of me. I agreed to meet her at a Starbucks near my hospital. Melissa showed up looking nervous and clutching her phone. We got our drinks and she just dove right in. "Look, Jake doesn't know I'm here and he'd kill me if he found out, but I can't watch this anymore. Your brother has a serious gambling problem. Like, serious. I told her I knew about the crypto thing and the loan sharks. "It's not just crypto," she said. "He gambles on sports constantly, like every single game. Football, basketball, baseball, whatever. He's got accounts on like 5 different betting apps, and he lies about it. He tells your mom he needs money for rent or car repairs or job opportunities, but it's all going to gambling." My stomach dropped. "How much?" "I don't know exactly, but I've seen him lose $3,000 in a single weekend. He got the money from your inheritance in March, right? By July, it was completely gone. Not to loan sharks, to gambling. He did owe loan sharks at one point, but your mom's money paid that off. Then he just kept gambling. Lost it all again. Does my mom know this?" Melissa shook her head. "He's really good at lying to her. She believes everything he tells her. But Sarah, he's never going to pay you back. He can't. He doesn't have a stable job. He's in debt up to his eyeballs again, and he won't stop. Gambling. I've tried to get him to go to Gamblers Anonymous, but he just says he has it under control. Why are you telling me this?" She looked down at her coffee. "Because I'm pregnant. 4 months. And I'm terrified of bringing a baby into this situation. Jake doesn't even know yet because I know he's going to see it as just another expense he can't afford. But your mom keeps telling him that you're being unreasonable, that you'll come around eventually, and he actually believes he doesn't have to take responsibility because Mommy will fix everything like she always does." I sat there processing this bombshell. Jake had a serious gambling addiction. He'd lied to Mom about the loan sharks. The money was gone, gambled away, and now there was going to be a baby. "What do you want me to do with this information?" I asked. "I don't know. Melissa said, starting to cry. I just thought you should know the truth. Everyone's making you out to be the bad guy, but Jake is sick. He needs help. And your mom enabling him isn't helping anyone. We talked for another hour. Melissa showed me screenshots of some of Jake's betting apps. The numbers were insane. We're talking hundreds of bets, thousands of dollars. She showed me texts where he'd promised her he'd stop, then she'd find new charges on their shared credit card. I left that meeting feeling even more conflicted. On one hand, if Jake really is a gambling addict, that's a disease. He needs treatment. On the other hand, that doesn't mean I should just forgive the theft of my inheritance. And why should I be the one to suffer because he has an addiction? I decided to tell my mom what Melissa had told me. I sent her a long email with the screenshots Melissa had given me permission to share. I explained that Jake had a serious gambling problem and that the money wasn't going to loan sharks, it was going to sports betting. I told her that enabling him by covering for him and making excuses was actually making things worse. Her response came 2 days later. Sarah, I can't believe you're trying to sabotage your brother's relationship. Melissa is clearly unstable and trying to cause problems. Jake already told me about her lies. She's trying to trap him with a fake pregnancy and turn the family against him. I'm disappointed that you would participate in this. Until you're ready to apologize for spreading these vicious rumors, I don't think we should communicate. I was floored. Floored. I sent her literal screenshots of Jake's gambling accounts, and she's calling it vicious rumors. I forwarded her response to Melissa, who just replied with, "See, this is what I deal with. I'm sorry I got you involved." But it gets worse. Oh, it gets so much worse. A few days after that email exchange, I got a call from my Aunt Carol. She was furious. "Sarah Elizabeth, what is this I hear about you making up lies about your brother being a gambling addict?" "Aunt Carol, I didn't make up anything. His girlfriend came to me with proof. His girlfriend who is making up a fake pregnancy to trap him. That girlfriend? The pregnancy isn't fake, and the gambling isn't made up. I have screenshots. Screenshots can be faked. I can't believe you would stoop this low. Your mother is beside herself. Jake is talking about getting a restraining order against you for harassment and defamation." "A restraining order? He stole my money." "He borrowed money from his mother, who chose to help him. You weren't entitled to that insurance money, Sarah. Your father left it to your mother to distribute as she saw fit." "That's not what the will said." "Well, legally, your mother was the beneficiary. So legally, it's her money. Maybe if you weren't so selfish and money-obsessed, you'd still have a family." She hung up on me. I found out later that Jake had told the entire family that Melissa was lying about being pregnant to manipulate him and that she was mentally unstable. He said I was conspiring with her to make him look bad because I was jealous of his relationship with Mom. 3 of my cousins blocked me on social media. My Uncle Mike sent me a text saying he was disappointed in me. Only my cousin Emma, 29F, reached out privately to say she believed me and thought the whole situation was fucked up, but she couldn't publicly support me without causing drama in her immediate family. Then came Thanksgiving. Obviously, I wasn't planning to go to the family Thanksgiving at Mom's house. I made plans with David to go to his parents' place instead. But apparently, the fact that I wasn't coming was this huge dramatic thing. My mom sent a group text to the entire family. "For those asking, Sarah will not be joining us for Thanksgiving. She has made it clear that money is more important to her than family. We will miss her, but we understand she has made her choice. Let's still have a blessed day together." The manipulation in that text. The manipulation. I responded directly in the group chat. I'm not coming because Mom gave away my $75,000 inheritance to Jake without my permission and refuses to make it right. I'm not choosing money over family. Mom chose Jake over honoring Dad's wishes and treating her children equally. The group chat exploded. Like 50+ messages in 10 minutes. Half the family saying I was airing dirty laundry. Some people asking what I was talking about. My Aunt Carol saying I was lying again. Jake sending a long message about how I was mentally unwell and he was praying for me. I muted the chat. David's family Thanksgiving was nice, but I couldn't stop thinking about everything. David's mom asked me if I was okay, and I just broke down crying at their dinner table. Had to excuse myself to the bathroom to pull it together. The day after Thanksgiving, I got an unexpected ally. My dad's sister, Aunt Patricia, 64F, who lives in Colorado and who I haven't seen in person in years, called me. "Sarah, honey, I just heard about what happened with the insurance money. Is it true? Linda gave both portions to Jake?" I explained everything. Everything, including the gambling, the lies, all of it. Aunt Patricia was silent for a long moment. Then she said, "Your father specifically told me he was leaving that money split equally because he knew Linda favored Jake. He was worried about exactly this. He made me promise that if anything happened to him, I'd make sure you were taken care of. I've been out of touch and I had no idea. I'm so sorry." She told me that when Dad was sick, he'd had some health scares before the final heart attack. He'd confided in her about his concerns. He knew Mom had a blind spot when it came to Jake. He'd apparently tried to set up the insurance policy in a way that would protect my portion, but his lawyer had advised the beneficiary structure for tax reasons. "Your father would be absolutely furious if he knew what Linda did," Aunt Patricia said. "This is exactly what he was afraid of." Having someone finally validate my feelings, and especially someone who knew my dad and understood his intentions, made me sob. Like full-body sobs. Aunt Patricia said she was going to call my mom and have words with her. I told her good luck with that. True to her word, Aunt Patricia called my mom, and apparently it did not go well. According to Aunt Patricia, Mom defended her actions by saying she had to save Jake from dangerous people and that Sarah has always been able to take care of herself. Aunt Patricia told her she'd betrayed her husband's dying wishes and that Dad would be ashamed of her. Mom apparently started screaming and hung up on her. Now Mom and Aunt Patricia aren't speaking either. Aunt Patricia is on my side completely, but she's also one person against basically the entire rest of the family. Early December, I found out through mutual friends that Melissa had indeed been pregnant and had miscarried at 16 weeks. She and Jake broke up. Jake is apparently telling people that she baby-trapped him with a fake pregnancy and then made up a miscarriage for sympathy. I reached out to Melissa to offer my condolences. She thanked me, but said she needed to cut ties with Jake's entire family, including me, for her mental health. I completely understood. I also found out that Jake moved back in with Mom. Of course he did. At 28 years old, with no job and a gambling addiction, he moved back into his childhood bedroom, and Mom is letting him stay there until he gets back on his feet. When will that be? Never. That's when. He will never get back on his feet because he's never had to. Mom will support him forever. My boyfriend David has been increasingly distant. We had a big fight 2 weeks ago where he basically said that I'm letting this consume me and that I need to find a way to move on. He said watching me be angry all the time is exhausting and he doesn't know how much longer he can do this. I told him that I'm not angry all the time. I'm justifiably upset about being robbed by my own family. He said there's no difference in the outcome. Either way, I'm miserable and making him miserable too. We're taking a break now, which I think is just a slow breakup. So, let me tally up what standing up for myself has cost me. $75,000 inheritance, my relationship with my mother, my relationship with my brother, half my extended family, possibly my relationship with David, my mental health and peace of mind. And what has Jake lost? Nothing. He's living rent-free at Mom's house, probably still gambling and still being enabled. The holidays are coming up and I've never felt more alone in my life. I'm working extra shifts at the hospital just to avoid sitting at home thinking about everything. My coworkers have noticed I'm not myself, but I don't even know how to explain this situation without sounding insane. Sometimes, late at night, I think about just apologizing. Just saying, "You're right, I'm sorry. Family is more important than money," and going back. Having my mom back. Having family dinners. Not being the pariah. But then I think about my dad. I think about him working all those years, paying those premiums, making those plans. I think about his letter saying he wanted me to have a foundation. And I think about how if I give in now, I'm teaching Mom and Jake that they can do whatever they want to me and I'll just take it. I don't know what the right answer is anymore. I thought I was being strong by setting boundaries, but maybe I'm just being stubborn. I thought I was standing up for myself, but maybe I'm just being unforgiving. All I know is that I'm exhausted. I'm tired of being angry. I'm tired of being hurt. I'm tired of being made to feel like I'm the problem when all I did was expect people to keep their word. Edit. Someone asked if I've considered therapy. Yes, I started seeing a therapist 3 weeks ago. She's been helpful in validating that my feelings are legitimate, but she also keeps asking me what outcome I actually want here. And honestly, I don't know. I want my money back, but more than that, I want my mom to acknowledge what she did was wrong. I want Jake to face consequences. I want my dad's wishes to matter, but none of that seems possible. Update. Just got a text from a number I don't recognize. It said, "This is Jake. I'm getting treatment for gambling addiction. Mom finally admitted I have a problem after Melissa lost the baby and left me. I'm in an outpatient program. I know I fucked up. I know I can't pay you back all at once. But I'm going to try. I'm sorry. I don't know if I believe him. I don't know if this is just another manipulation. I don't know if I even care anymore. But I haven't blocked the number yet. And I hate that part of me wants to believe he's finally taking responsibility, even though every past experience tells me he won't follow through. This whole thing is so much more complicated than my mom gave my inheritance to my brother. It's about patterns of favoritism. It's about addiction. It's about enabling. It's about what you do when the people who are supposed to love you most show you that you're second priority, and I still don't have any answers. Okay, so I need to tell you how this entire situation reached its breaking point, because what happened in the last 2 months has completely changed everything, and I still don't know if I made the right choices. After I got that text from Jake about being in treatment, I didn't respond for 3 days. I just stared at it, reading it over and over, trying to decide if it was genuine or just another manipulation. David, during one of our break phone calls, told me I should at least acknowledge it. Maybe he's really trying to change, he said. But I couldn't bring myself to respond. Then, on day 4, Jake sent another text. "I know you don't trust me. I don't blame you. But I'm attaching proof that I'm in the program. I meet with a counselor twice a week and go to GA meetings 4 times a week. I'm also working with a debt counselor. I want to make this right." He sent a photo of some kind of certificate of enrollment in a gambling addiction treatment program dated 2 weeks prior. It looked legitimate. But I've learned not to trust anything at face value anymore. I finally responded, I hope you get the help you need, but treatment doesn't erase what you did. I need to see consistent action over time, not just promises. His response, fair. That was it. Just fair. No arguing, no defensiveness, no manipulation. It was so unlike him that I almost believed something had actually changed. Christmas was approaching, and the pressure from extended family was intensifying. Aunt Carol sent me a care package with a note that said, even though you've hurt this family deeply, we still love you and hope you'll reconsider your stance. Jesus taught forgiveness, Sarah. It's never too late to make things right. The passive aggression made me want to throw the whole package in the trash, but David, we were still technically on a break but talking regularly, convinced me to keep it. They're trying, he said. I told him that trying would be acknowledging what actually happened, not guilt-tripping me with Bible verses. 2 weeks before Christmas, Aunt Patricia called me with news. Sarah, I've been doing some digging into your father's estate, and I think there might be a legal angle here you haven't explored. She explained that she'd been talking to an estate lawyer in Colorado who specialized in cases like mine. Apparently, even though Mom was the beneficiary of the insurance policy, the will's explicit instructions about distribution could potentially be legally enforceable under constructive trust theory. Basically, that Mom was holding the money in trust for us even if it wasn't formally set up that way. It's not a guaranteed win, Aunt Patricia said, but the lawyer thinks you have a decent case, especially if you can prove your mother understood and agreed to your father's distribution wishes at the time. That would mean suing my own mother, I said. Yes, it would. I sat with that information for days. The thought of taking legal action against my own mom made me physically ill. But so did the thought of just letting this go and teaching her that stealing from me had no consequences. I consulted with a local attorney. He reviewed all my documentation, the will, the insurance policy, email exchanges with my mom, text messages, everything. His assessment was similar to Aunt Patricia's lawyer. Maybe a 60-40 chance of success, but it would be expensive and emotionally devastating. The question you need to ask yourself, the lawyer said, is whether you're doing this to get your money back or to prove a point, because even if you win, it's going to cost you in other ways. I left his office more confused than ever. Then, 3 days before Christmas, everything exploded in a way I never saw coming. I got a call from my mom. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Sarah. Her voice was shaking. Jake is in the hospital. He tried to kill himself. Everything stopped. The anger, the resentment, the hurt. It all just vanished in that moment, replaced by pure terror. What? When? Is he okay? Last night. He took a bunch of pills. His sponsor from GA found him and called 911. He's stable now, but... She broke down sobbing. He left a note. Sarah, he left a note saying he couldn't live with what he'd done to you and to his baby and to this family. I was already grabbing my keys. What hospital? She told me, and I drove there in a daze. David met me there. I'd called him on the way, and despite everything between us, he dropped everything to be there for me. The hospital waiting room was full of family. Aunt Carol, Uncle Mike, my cousins, all looking shell-shocked. When I walked in, the room went silent. Aunt Carol actually looked away from me. Mom was sitting in a corner, looking 20 years older than she had the last time I'd seen her. When she saw me, she stood up and we just stared at each other for a moment. Then she walked over and hugged me, and we both cried. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry for everything. We sat together while the doctors updated us. Jake had overdosed on a combination of his anxiety medication and sleeping pills. They'd pumped his stomach and he was physically going to be okay, but he was being placed on a psychiatric hold for 72 hours minimum. The note he'd left was apparently pages long. Mom showed me part of it on her phone. Jake had sent her a photo of it before taking the pills, which is probably what saved his life because she'd immediately called 911. The parts I read were devastating. "Mom, I'm sorry I'm such a disappointment. I'm sorry I ruined Sarah's life. I'm sorry about Melissa's baby. I'm sorry I can't stop gambling, even when I try. I'm sorry I'm the reason this family is falling apart. Everyone would be better off without me. At least then Sarah could get her money from my life insurance. Tell her I'm sorry. Tell Dad I'm sorry. I can't do this anymore." Reading those words from my brother, my annoying, irresponsible, manipulative brother, broke something in me. Because despite everything, I never wanted this. I never wanted him dead. I just wanted him to take responsibility. We waited for hours before they let us see him. He was awake but sedated, with a psychiatrist monitoring him. He looked so small in that hospital bed, nothing like the cocky guy who'd called me a bitch 6 months ago. When he saw me, he started crying. "Sarah, I'm sorry. I'm so fucking sorry." I sat down next to his bed. "Jake, I'm angry at you. I'm furious at you, but I don't want you dead." "I've destroyed everything," he said. "My life is shit. I'm a gambling addict living with my mom at 28. I got a girl pregnant and then lost the baby because of stress from my shit. I stole from you. I'm worthless. You're not worthless. You're sick, but you're not worthless." Mom was standing in the doorway watching us. The psychiatrist asked to speak with our family, and we all gathered in a conference room. The doctor was direct. "Jake has severe depression along with his gambling addiction. The suicide attempt was serious. This wasn't a cry for help. This was a genuine attempt to end his life. He needs intensive treatment. We're recommending a 30-day inpatient program that addresses both the addiction and the mental health component." "Whatever he needs," Mom said immediately. "Whatever it costs." The doctor nodded. "I also want to be clear that Jake's recovery is going to require major changes in his support system. Enabling behaviors need to stop. Accountability needs to happen. This isn't just about Jake. The whole family dynamic needs to shift." She was looking at my mom when she said that last part. We spent Christmas in that hospital. Jake was transferred to the inpatient facility on December 26th. Before he left, he asked to speak to me privately. "I know I can't make this right quickly," he said. "I know $500 a month for 12 years is bullshit. But I talked to the debt counselor at the program, and we're setting up a real plan. I'm going to get a job when I get out, a real job. And I'm going to pay you back every cent, even if it takes me 20 years. Jake, I just want you to get better." "No, you want both. You want me to get better and you want your money back. And you're right to want both. So I'm going to do both." He showed me a document his counselor had helped him draft, a formal promissory note for $75,000, with a payment plan that started at $500 a month but increased as his income increased, with specific benchmarks and consequences for missed payments. "Sign this," he said. "Make it legal. That way you know I'm serious." I took the document. "I'll have a lawyer review it." "Good. You should." After that conversation, something shifted. Not back to the way things were. That was impossible. But towards something different. Mom and I started meeting for coffee once a week. These weren't easy conversations. I made it clear that I was still angry, still hurt, and that rebuilding trust would take time. She acknowledged, really acknowledged, that she'd been enabling Jake his entire life and that her favoritism had damaged me deeply. Your father tried to tell me, she admitted during one of our meetings. He used to say I was doing Jake no favors by always bailing him out. But I thought I was being a good mother. I thought protecting him was what love looked like. You weren't protecting him. You were protecting yourself from having to watch him face consequences. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. You're right. And in doing that, I hurt you. I violated your father's trust. I'm so sorry, Sarah. It wasn't enough to fix everything, but it was something. The lawyer I consulted reviewed Jake's promissory note and said it was legally solid. I had it notarized and filed with the county clerk. Jake made his first payment of $500 in January from his first paycheck from a job at a warehouse he'd gotten after completing the inpatient program. Aunt Patricia was proud of me for getting the legal agreement, but also for trying to rebuild the relationship. Your father would want both, she said, justice and family. David and I got back together, though it's been rocky. He admitted that he'd been overwhelmed by the intensity of the situation and didn't know how to support me. We're in couples counseling now, working through it. But here's the thing, and this is what keeps me up at night. I don't know if I did the right thing. Part of me feels like I should have been more compassionate from the start. If I'd known Jake was suicidal, would I have pushed so hard? If I'd known he was battling serious mental illness on top of addiction, would I have cut them off so completely? But another part of me thinks that if I hadn't set those hard boundaries, nothing would have changed. Jake would still be gambling. Mom would still be enabling him. The suicide attempt was horrific, but it was also the wake-up call that forced everyone to acknowledge the real problems. I've also had to confront some uncomfortable truths about myself. Yes, I was the responsible one, the one who always had it together. But I also use that as a weapon sometimes. I judged Jake harshly because his struggles weren't visible like mine. I worked double shifts and saved money and did everything right, but I also held that over him. The therapist I'm seeing has helped me understand that you can be both the victim and imperfect in how you handle being victimized. I was absolutely right to be angry about the stolen inheritance. I was absolutely right to demand accountability. But I could have had more compassion for Jake's addiction while still holding boundaries. It's been 3 months since the suicide attempt. Jake is still in treatment, still working, still making payments. He's been sober from gambling for 98 days as of today. Mom is in therapy too, working on her codependency issues and learning how to support Jake without enabling him. My relationship with both of them is still fragile. We're rebuilding, slowly. I don't trust easily anymore. Every time Jake texts me, part of me wonders if he's gambling again. Every time Mom says something that sounds like an excuse for him, I tense up. But we're trying. And maybe that's all we can do. The extended family situation is still complicated. Aunt Carol sent me an apology card that said, "I'm sorry I didn't listen to you about Jake's problems. You were trying to help him by holding him accountable, and I judged you for it." Uncle Mike called to say he was proud of me for sticking to my principles even when it was hard. My cousins who blocked me have mostly unblocked me, though we're not close like we used to be. Some relationships didn't survive this. My cousin Jess and I barely speak. She still thinks I overreacted and that Jake's suicide attempt proves I was too harsh. We'll probably never agree on that. And the money? I've received $1,500 so far. At this rate, even with the planned increases in payments, I'll be 45 years old before I'm fully paid back. The condo I wanted is long gone. The financial security I was supposed to have from my dad is still just a dream. But Jake is alive, and that matters more than I wanted to admit. So, let me lay out both sides as clearly as I can, because I genuinely don't know anymore if I was the asshole. Arguments that I was the asshole. I cut off my mother completely without trying to work things out first. I could have insisted on mediation or family therapy before going nuclear. I didn't take Jake's mental health and addiction issues seriously enough initially. I treated him like he was just irresponsible when he was actually sick. I refused to compromise or show flexibility. $500 a month wasn't great, but it was something, and I rejected it outright. I involved extended family by responding in that group text, which escalated everything publicly and forced people to take sides. My anger was so consuming that it affected my relationship with David and my own mental health. At some point, being right mattered more than being happy. I didn't consider that Mom might have genuinely believed she was saving Jake's life when she gave him the money. Her judgment was wrong, but her intentions might have been good. My hard boundaries contributed to Jake's mental breakdown. While I'm not responsible for his choices, my complete rejection of him was one of the factors he cited in his suicide note. Arguments that I was not the asshole. My mother violated my deceased father's explicit wishes and stole my inheritance. That's not an exaggeration. She took money that was designated for me and gave it to someone else without my permission. Jake lied repeatedly about what the money was for and where it went. The loan shark story was fabricated. He gambled away $150,000 and showed no remorse until he faced actual consequences. Mom enabled Jake's addiction by constantly bailing him out, making excuses, and refusing to acknowledge his problems even when presented with evidence. Setting boundaries isn't punishment, it's self-protection. I had every right to remove myself from a toxic dynamic where I was treated as less important than Jake. Without my hard stance, nothing would have changed. Jake would still be gambling, Mom would still be enabling, and I'd still be expected to just accept being treated as second class. The suicide attempt, while tragic, wasn't my fault. Jake's mental health issues existed before this situation and needed professional intervention, not me just rolling over and accepting being stolen from. I tried to work it out multiple times before cutting contact. I asked for a payment plan, for acknowledgement, for accountability. They refused until I set hard boundaries. Standing up for myself isn't selfish. Demanding that people honor commitments isn't greedy. Wanting what my father intended me to have isn't money-obsessed. I've spent $3,000 on therapy over the past 6 months trying to process this. I've lost sleep, lost weight from stress, lost relationships. I'm 32 years old and I feel like I've aged 5 years in 6 months. The question I keep coming back to is, can you be justified in your anger but wrong in your methods? Can you be the victim and still handle victimhood imperfectly? Is compassion for people who hurt you something you owe them or something you choose to give? I don't have answers. What I have is a mother. I'm slowly learning to trust again, a brother who might actually be changing, a boyfriend who stuck with me through my worst $1,500 of my $75,000 inheritance, and a whole lot of trauma to work through. My dad's been gone for 4 years now. Sometimes I wonder what he'd say about all of this. Would he be proud that I fought for what he wanted me to have? Or would he be sad that it tore the family apart? Would he think the inheritance was worth losing my relationship with Mom and almost losing Jake permanently? I wish I could ask him. I wish he was here to mediate this, to make Mom see reason, to help Jake get treatment years ago before it got this bad. I wish a lot of things, but wishes don't change reality. Reality is messy and complicated, and there are no clear heroes or villains. There's just hurt people hurting each other and then trying to figure out how to stop. So I'm left with this question, and I'm asking it genuinely because I truly don't know the answer anymore. Was I the asshole for blocking my mother after she gave my $75,000 inheritance to my golden child brother, even though standing my ground led to his suicide attempt and the near destruction of my family? I did what I thought was right. I set boundaries. I demanded accountability. I refused to enable dysfunction. And it almost killed my brother. So was I right? Was I wrong? Was I both? If you made it through this whole story, thank you for listening. Seriously, sometimes you just need to tell the whole truth to strangers on the internet to process what the hell just happened to your life. If this story made you think, made you feel something, or if you have your own family drama that makes you relate to this mess, please hit that like button and subscribe to Who's the Villain? AITA. And here's what I really want to know. Drop a comment with a rating from 0 to 10. How much of an asshole was I in this situation? And who do you think was really wrong here? Was it me for the hard boundaries, Mom for the theft and enabling, Jake for the lies and addiction? All of us? None of us? I'm genuinely curious what you all think, because 6 months later, I still don't know. Maybe that's the real answer, that life doesn't always give us clear verdicts. Sometimes you just have to live with the consequences of your choices and hope you did more good than harm. But man, I really wish I knew for sure.